What is up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about how to catch big pre-spawn bass from big swim baits. Now there's a couple different approaches that I go about looking for areas that I think will hold big fish. Now the first area will be a spawning flat. Now these spawning flats of course are used for spawning. Now these big females, they move up shallow, they do their business, they only stay there on the bed for maybe 2 or 3 days, and then they move off into deeper water. Now I'm looking for a spawning flat that will sit in anywhere from that 10 feet maybe to that 15 feet, and then it will have a dramatic drop off that goes into deeper water. May that be 10 feet down to 30 or 15 down to 40 or whatever. Those big females will move back into that deeper water and resume feeding. Now the way I go about approaching a spawning flat is usually with the bottom kind of bait. Now it's just a Huddleston, it's an 8-inch. This is one of the go-to baits that I'm throwing this time of year on those spawning flats. Now what I do with this is I will position my boat into shallower water, so like the 10-foot range, and I will cast this bait into that deeper range, anywhere from like that 30 to 40. Let it sink down to the bottom, and I'll work gradually, slowly up. And I'm always looking for contact with any type of cover, may that be rock or trees, because those fish will be sitting behind that. And again, they're still in that kind of sluggish kind of mood, so they don't want to really chase too far. You want to go to where the fish actually live. And this time of year, myself and Phoenix, we found out that these fish like to live in the rocks, these big boulders. So we had to bump our baits into the rocks to get these bites. And so whenever I do get a bite, I always like to make sure that I figure out where the bite came from, like the depth and the water temp. And so I'll kind of go off of that. And so let's say if I catch a fish out of 20 feet, I'll stay in that 20-foot range for the rest of the day. I'll go off of the one bite. Maybe a fluke, maybe a bite that may go on for the rest of the week. It just is kind of trial and error out there. Now another good area that I like to fish is main lake structure. Now that may be trees, that might be boulders, that might be like a marina or a hump out in the middle. Either way, anything that's main lake, and it especially has to have wind, is usually a really good spot to try and fish. Now my personal best and the kids' personal best came off of rocks, big boulders, and that was sitting in 20 feet. The water temp was about 59 degrees. And so we kind of went off of that bite early on, and we kind of stayed anywhere from that 10 feet to the 20 feet, and that's where we caught all of our fish. When it came to fishing these main lake areas, we were fishing bottom baits like the Huddleston and the Magnum, as well as some of the big glide baits like the Hinkle trout. Now, our lakes were stocked with trout back in mid-February, and so those big pre-spawn fish, they were chasing the trout around. They were up shallow, and it was an absolutely amazing time to try and catch a giant. Now, your lakes may not have trout, and that's no problem. They do make multiple shad kind of baits out there. This is just an HPH, but they do make cheaper baits that are shad imitators. They also have the bluegill imitators, so you don't have to just be limited to trout imitation kind of baits. But the biggest key for us was bumping into the cover. If we weren't hitting rocks, we were not getting any bites. And there had to be wind. If there was no wind, it was flat calm, we weren't catching fish. And so we kind of just waited it out. We kind of pickpocketed spots that we knew on the lake had good cover and had the right wind to it. And we'd go to those spots and we'd fish around. If we didn't get bit, we'd just come back later. And sometimes we'd fish a spot early in the morning, not get anything, go back maybe 4 or 5 hours later, and there'd be fish loaded up on the spot. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys here a quick cast to catch that I got fishing these kind of methods. I got it on the Hinkle trout. We were fishing early March around these big rock piles that we had on the main lake. I get really up close to these boulders, making my bait, feel like it's pinned up against those rocks, and this fish hits it hard.
Dude, got one. She hit it good. I don't know if she's big or not. Here she comes, man. Oh, it's a nice one.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. There you go.
Okay.
Not a bad one. Dude, I just got
like that, dude. And I just kind of like went into it. I'm like, oh, that's a fish. Oh, there you go. Nice one. It's not too bad.
Now, if there's one thing that I would take away from this is try fishing shallow. Even if the water doesn't seem right, if it seems a little on the colder side, you'll never know, because some of these fish that we were catching were literally in 5 feet of water. It was super shallow. The water wasn't even that warm. And so when it comes to this pre-spawn bite, those fish are up shallow, guys. I know we got the whole mindset of fishing deep water because of winter, but even with a decent week of warm weather, those fish will actually be moving up, ready to spawn, and feeding actively. Now, this particularly isn't a big bait, but it can also find really good quality fish, and it can cover water quickly. That's just a deep diving crankbait. Now, this is a Strike King 6XD. I was throwing this around and I was catching quite a few quality sized fish. Now, these fish were anywhere from 2 pounds, like a normal crankbait fish, all the way up to 6 pounds. And so it just kind of went to show that these fish, whatever we were presenting to them, they would be biting it. Whether it be a 2-inch crankbait all the way up to like a 10-inch swim bait. These fish are opportunistic feeders, and this time of year those fish are feeding before they do spawn. And it's a heck of a great time to break your personal best. Myself and Phoenix, we broke our personal best. And so if you guys really want to catch a true giant in your waters, this is the time to do it. Go pick up a big bait, fish some of the spots that you may or may not think hold them, and give it a shot. It's all about trial and error out there, and finding out what works for you and when it works best. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, chase your dreams.
It's filming whenever you want to start.
Alright guys, I've got Phoenix Pickner behind the camera today. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all the production that he's done. He's given me the script for today's show. He's right here, the man, the myth, the legend, the director, the script writer, the actor.
Hey guys.
I'm actually him.
Phoenix Pickner here.
So he's the man. Well, but again, thank you to my director for everything that's done for us.
Alright, good luck,
We're
man.
gonna get in the video.